I would like to ask the Minister for Education, Sport and Culture whether his department will consider the conclusions from the Commission on Religious Education, which recommended the teaching of religion and worldviews.
On the Minister for Education, Sport and Culture, Mr. Cregeen.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Commission on Religious Education, CORE, was set up in 2017 in England to discuss several areas in relation to religious education in English-maintained schools. Its remit included to consider the nature, purposes and scope of religious education, to identify the enabling factors that currently promote high-quality RE and the barriers that currently limit it, to identify what changes are needed to ensure the highest quality provision of RE. The Commission was chaired by the Right Reverend John Hall, Dean of Westminster, and includes various faith and lay commissioners. Following a call for evidence and a period of deliberation, CORE published the report the Honourable Member refers to in September this year. CORE established, in conjunction with the Religious Education Council of England and Wales, the equivalent to the REC on the island is the Religious Education Advisory Committee, REAC. REAC has, from the Commission's inception, been encouraged to review the work of CORE and discuss both interim and final recommendations of the Commission at sittings of REAC, which take place on a termly 3-year basis. As the Honourable Member may know, REAC is established by the Department and chaired by the Bishop of Sodor and Man. The committee consists of representatives of Christian denominations on the island, members of the Education Council, teachers representing both primary and secondary phases of education, and a senior department officer. The most recent consideration of the CORE took place at an agenda item at a meeting of REAC on the 14th of November. The committee was presented with the recommendations of the report and invited to comment on whether any of the applicable to the island education context. Whilst REAC will continue to keep a watching brief on developments with the CORE in England, it is important to remember, firstly, that the UK Government is not obliged to act on these recommendations, and secondly, in the terms of religious education, Isle of Man schools are bound by primary legislation, namely Section 12 of the Education Act 2001. The new education bill will be out for consultation shortly.
Supplementary question, Dr. Allinson.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I'd like to thank the Minister for his comprehensive reply. I completely appreciate that these recommendations from an adjacent isle, but it's very good to see that they've been taken on board here on our island. Would he agree with me that what the report showed was that religious and worldview education is extremely important, and that the teachers who provide this should be adequately trained and resourced? Thank you.
Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes.